You are listening to the BlahCade Pinball Podcast. I am your host, Chris Freebus, aka Shut Your Trap. Joining me as always, halfway across the world, Jared Morgan.
Hello.
Howdy.
Howdy. Hello. Yeah. It's Monday, not Sunday today.
Well, it's your Monday, it's my Sunday, but it doesn't matter because we have tomorrow off anyway for Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, right. Not that you'll be able to enjoy it because everything's still closed.
No, everything's always open.
No, well, I'm talking about all the natural places and government places.
Oh, those things. Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah, that's what happens when you have a government shutdown.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. That's all boring stuff. We don't want to deal with that.
Incredibly boring.
Especially for somebody that's not American.
Yeah, that's right.
I do want to say I am fascinated by the fact that because these conversations happen over on Digital Pinball Fans a lot in the kind of our random thread stuff, where other countries seem to know more about what's going on than we do. It's quite fascinating. I don't know squat about what's going on in any other country. It's hard enough keeping track of what's going on my own, and yet there's people that just know, like, they're pulling stuff like deep pulls. I'm like, what the heck? Are you just like utterly fascinated with us? I don't get it. So anyway.
That's weird. No, I wouldn't go to that extent. I just see what I see on my Google News feed. That's all.
Yeah.
Tells me what to know.
So we're going to jump right into the action here. So here's the question, Jared. Do you want to start with? Actually, I know what we're going to start with, but you can think about this. You get to think about, do you want to start with digital pinball or real pinball? Those are your choices. But what we're going to first start with, we mentioned, I think last podcast, we're like, hey, what the hell's up with Arcuda? We haven't heard from them in a while.
Yeah, true.
Well, if we had been on their pre-order list for a cabinet, we would be getting notifications. Neither of us are on that, so we don't get the notifications. So I reached out to our contact at Arcuda, and I was like, hey, what's going on? Is there anything to announce or whatever? And basically the word was they're kind of taking a low profile regarding the cabinets until they are actually in production, which they're saying is really, really close to happening. Right. But there is no point anymore of kind of announcing stuff for a product that you still wouldn't be able to buy because they basically got everybody that was going to buy pre-ordered.
To commit, yeah.
Exactly. So now it's just a matter of, hey, we'll make the big show of things when we actually have a product, and that people can then go, yes, I want to buy now, and then it'll be arriving. So
and then
that was just now.
Yeah.
But they did make an announcement on Twitter, is where I saw it, regarding their Touch Wizard, which is a 19-inch screen, touch screen, basically your bar top gaming device. And they were an
Android touchscreen, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it is Android. So basically, any game that you can play on Android, you'll be able to play on this. It's got a joystick. It's got the buttons. And then it also has flipper buttons on the side because you can also play Pinball Arcade. And as is the case with what they were doing with the Arcuda cabinets, they made some pre-purchases of that block of 76 tables that you no longer can play in TPA. And it's going to be available. Yeah, it's available on this, obviously in limited numbers, because once they sell out of that software package, it's gone. There is no price announcement yet for it, but that is something to keep in mind for that bar top unit. And they had a YouTube video about it also showing it. And so basically about half the video was showing Pinball Arcade, and the other half was showing that, you can do Candy Crush on it. You can do arcade stick games with it. You can do all manner of stuff. So I just wanted to make sure that there has been an update. We did check up on it, and obviously we'll give more info about the Arcuda cabinet when it gets closer to that time period, which again, they said they're really close, but
we'll wait. We can wait a little bit longer.
All right. So now that you've had time to decide,
what do you want? Go with real pinball.
Real pinball. So the reason why we did not talk last week in a podcast was I was at It Never Drains in Southern California, which was hosted at the Museum of Pinball in Manning. This is that facility where they have over 500 machines and unfortunately are only able to be open about 3 times a year due to zoning regulations, which is
stupid,
mind-bogglingly just dumb on the part of banning. But
yeah.
So yeah, I was not playing in the tournament. I stepped foot into the tournament side of things, basically the warehouse where they normally had all the standard arcade cabinets. Got pushed to the side and curtained off, and they had a whole bunch of pinball machines in there for the tournament, and it was packed. It was kind of a zoo in there. I didn't even want to like get remotely close because I didn't want to get in the way of people that were waiting in line to play next, and I really had no clue what to observe. It just was one of those things where I was just like, I'm much happier just going over into the other room and playing a whole bunch of pinball machines.
That sounds like the right approach. That sounds nuts.
That being said, on that side, I'm glad I walked over to the tournament side because that was where they had NBA Fast Break. They had 2 of them. One was, and they were side by side, basically with somebody advertising the difference between, hey, look at this with incandescent lights and look at this with LEDs.
LEDs.
And they were tastefully done LEDs so that
not clown vomit LEDs.
It wasn't clown vomit, and it wasn't that hyper bright they looked really good side by side. So I was able to get my fix of playing some NBA Fast Break, and they were both playing really nicely. Yes, I did play both of them.
Of course you did.
I had to, come on.
You had to compare. Yeah.
Yes, they also had a Primus pinball over there, so I played a game on that, which is like, it's just Nelly, but with Primus art and Primus music, which I'll grant you is an improvement.
Yeah, it's an improvement.
But it's still the playfield. You either like Nelly or you don't.
It's the El Dorado of Stern's modern lineup.
Right. Yeah. And also, speaking of reskins of a sort, they had the Beatles pinball over there.
All right.
That was not on free play. They were doing a charity tournament with that. And I took a look at it and was watching somebody play it and just kind of went,
Meh. Yeah. I think unless you're really into the Beatles and you've got a lot of spare money lying around, that's not going to really be an attractive pin for you.
Right. Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, 2 of the tables that I really wanted to play were also over only on the tournament side. They basically yanked them from the free play side, and and that's what you'd be walking down the aisles, and also there'd be a gap where a pinball machine should have been. You realize, oh yeah, that's because it's over at the tournament. But I really wanted to play Iron Maiden, and I really wanted to play Jersey Jack's Pirates of the Caribbean.
You mean Iron Man?
What's that?
You mean Iron Man?
Iron Man.
Iron Maiden? Or
Iron Maiden? No, Iron Maiden. The band.
Iron Maiden. Yeah, sorry. You said Iron Man. Did you say Iron Man? Yeah.
No, I said Iron Maiden.
I don't know. It's early in the morning here.
Let's review the tape.
That's right. I'll go back through. Don't you worry.
And unfortunately, also Dialed In was part of the tournament. Now I've played Dialed In before, so
you have.
That wasn't like, oh, I really want to. But those were 2 tables that I was really like, I want to get my hands on those because I haven't been able to. Fortunately, the other tables that I wanted to get my hands on, Deadpool being the main one, I was able to get a whole bunch of games in on that. All the Sterns that they had were the premium or LE versions. It was none of the pro versions. So I finally got to play Star Wars the way it should be played.
Right. With the Hyperloop, yeah.
Yeah, and it's so weird. I really cannot say why, but when I've played the pro version, my games have been just super short, and I haven't really liked the shot selection. This one, my game was much longer, and the shots were kind of fun. And I'm like, is it really just the difference of having long habit trails, or I don't know. It was weird.
I don't know.
Still not the greatest table.
That thing's on the floor at Netherworld, and I just never bother. I just don't like the game. It doesn't get my dollars.
I can't wrap my head around what you're supposed to be doing.
I saw a funny thing on, I think it was on Instagram, where they said they had a picture of Simon Says, the electronic version of Simon Says, and then Star Wars.
Okay.
If you could play Simon Says, you can work out the bonus modes in Star Wars. And I went, no. Well, yes, you can, but like, I don't really care. So I don't want to play either of those things.
So other tables that I was really looking forward to and hoping that they had, Total Nuclear Annihilation. I'm not a fan of what Spooky has put out, and there was a whole section where basically all the Spooky tables were.
Yep.
So I also got to play Alice Cooper. I got to play their Domino's Pizza table. I got to play the Jetsons.
I wouldn't even bothered with the Jetsons personally.
Yeah, hey, it's there. When I'm going to see it again, you gotta try it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about what the layouts of what their rule sets are, and Spooky just doesn't grab me at all. Total Annihilation, I get why people love it.
It's great, right?
Very simple layout, and yet it is a butt kicker of a game.
Yeah.
It feels rock solid. Like everything about it, just you feel the flippers, you feel the motors. It just feels like it's made of steel, It's the old argument that people used to make against when you would play a Data East table versus playing a Williams table.
Yes, it just felt more solid.
Exactly. And this table, just everything about it felt solid and just like, I'm here, So
I'm here to kill you.
It was
take your money.
And yet it is such a simple layout. But I kept on coming back to it. So
yeah, that's exactly what it does to you. Like you goes, I've only had like a 1 minute game. I need another 1 minute game. And then I need another one after that.
Yeah, it's a really open play field. There's only a couple of areas to shoot. You're like, come on, how difficult? I should be able to just dominate on this, and you don't.
Nope, you do not. So something about the geometry around the slingshots.
Yeah,
that just makes the thing bizarrely hungry.
Yeah,
it's like they've moved a post somewhere and they've moved the position of the slingshots back just a little bit, I think, or elongated the exit from the return lanes.
Yeah,
and it's completely changed the way that game plays. I think that's the reason why it's so weird. And it's just like the flippers feel shallower as well, even though they're using Belly Williams parts underneath there. They just feel shallower, and it's much harder to trap the ball.
I also got to play. Let's see. I'm looking at my list here. Oh, I got to play Aerosmith, which I'd never played before.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't hear it because there's just too much noise, so I couldn't hear the table. I really like the toy mech, though.
How cool is it?
Of a ball launching into the toy box or the attic. Awesome. The toy box in the attic, right? Yeah. I hit it once. I went, wait, did I just see what I saw? And then I was like, I got to get that again. And sure enough, I got the log, and I launch it, and I see the ball go ping, you fly over and just make this perfect landing.
Nail the shot. It's like,
I was like, that's cool.
It's a little bit like it's like a modern version of Fast Break, isn't it? Where you shoot the hoop and it just gets it perfectly every time.
And then I like also how it ejects the balls once you get all three. It's just basically just pushes up, and they just kind of dribble out.
It's just a vomit of balls.
Right. Which is funny. Maybe that's a trend with Stern, because also on if you get Groot multi-ball on Guardians of the Galaxy, it vomits the balls
out.
So anyway, that was kind of I couldn't tell you if I really enjoyed the table or not, because like I said, I couldn't hear it. But
makes it hard with music tables. It's the same with Iron Maiden. If that table's not cranking loud, it just doesn't really do very much for you. Like some people have said that they're that annoyed with the music now with it.
Okay.
That it's actually a blessing that they don't hear the music anymore. Because the thing is, with the music, it's not really integrated into the game. It's just a soundtrack you play at this stage, unless you're going to code in modes or power ups with the music that you select. A little bit like AC/DC, but they haven't done it. It's just the music. It's like a background. It's like a jukebox.
Right.
That's all it is.
Also got to play Thunderbirds. Now this is by Homepin. Homepin is the company that is sharing parts with Arcuda.
All right. Yes.
I hate the flipper buttons.
Oh, you do?
I hate them. They're not the same buttons that Stern and Williams and Bally and Data East all used, which are a shallow concave and it's a wide concave. This is a much deeper, steeper concave to it. And it just doesn't feel right. Like it feels like your fingertips are pointing in rather than using the pad of your finger. I was just like, and I questioned when I did go up to Farsight in June and play the Arcuda cabinet they had. I didn't care for the flipper buttons then either. And I mentioned something to our guy at Arcuda about that, and he kind of, oh, what? I don't, didn't seem to really recognize. And I was like, maybe it was just a prototype or whatever. But here it is on this home pin cabinet.
You know
and I went, oh, this is what they're using, isn't it? I was just like, oh, it doesn't feel right on my fingers. Kind of an interesting pin though. The game itself seemed interesting. I did like maybe 2 games on it, and it's kind of like, okay, it was better than the Jetsons.
Well, yes, that's not hard to do.
But they were both intended to be entry-level pinball games. Games that are friendlier to those that are unfamiliar with pin.
That's right. I think the home pin Thunderbirds was modeled off the System 11 style.
Okay.
When really all you had going for it was building up to the multi-ball and doing some modes. I have not played it myself yet. It was on tour in Australia at one point where they were going city to city, but I wasn't able to get to it. And that is literally the only chance I would have had to actually touch it.
Okay.
The funny thing is that there's another podcast called Head to Head Pinball, and they do what they call how there's the Twippies?
Yeah.
Well, they do the Twerpies. And the Twerpies are the worst games, not the best games, but the worst games. And Thunderbird kind of scooped the lot.
Wow.
Like worst theme integration, worst sound, worst layout. Like everything was just like, no, this is a terrible game. Well,
wow.
So yeah.
So in that section of they're kind of calling it their rare, hard to find section of pins. They had 2 that I was really looking forward and like had no clue that I would see them there. But as soon as I saw them, I was like, yes. So the first one was Houdini.
Oh, right.
I've seen the pictures and I'd read some of the things. I was like, that sounds really cool. And then I got in front of the thing and started playing it, and I don't like it.
Houdini is one that we've got in a place next to Netherworld, and I never ever go there. But I should go there so I can have a look at it too, to see what it's like.
It has some of the most narrow thread the needle shots I've ever come across.
Yeah.
And the worst part of it is those are hurry up targets.
Oh, really?
And it's like, are you kidding me? It is okay. I think you've played Tales from the Crypt before. Tales from the Crypt has a really narrow shot up on the I want to say it's a ramp shot, I believe. That's essentially what Houdini has 2 of. There are 2 of these sections. Now, one of them is a traditional lane to shoot the ball. I can't remember if it's an orbit or nover, but it's just barely wider than the ball itself.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden I get a hurry up and it's to shoot that. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm never going to hit it in that amount of time. And I tried and tried and tried, and I just kept ricocheting all over. And then I've got to wait for the ball to get to the proper flipper to be able to do it again. It just was like, no, you're high. And then the other one is the actual is like an actual mode start. It's over on the left-hand side. And if you got to thread through bumpers, 3 bumpers, to get to this spot to trigger it. I'm just like, come on.
So it's the mode starts in a similar position to what on Iron Maiden the left ramp is. Like you got to thread the needle through the
yeah, but isn't that a threading the needle kind of like what Whirlwind has?
Yeah,
which isn't much of a need. I mean, there's space.
Yeah, it's still a pretty tight shot. I mean,
this one, I'm talking. This is just unforgiving. It's just plain unforgiving. Also, I wouldn't be so hard on it if it wasn't for the fact that the flippers seem to have no strength.
Oh.
And I mean, I want that ball to be rocketing to these positions, and it felt more like it was just kind of dribbling which also threw off my aim for trying to make these really insanely narrow shots. And then I couldn't get a grip at all on, like, I would start a mode and I'm expecting to see, shoot for the blinky light kind of thing. And instead, like, it was like, shoot for the milk canister. I'm like, oh, great. And so now I have to examine the table to figure out, okay, I see a milk canister toy, but why is this thing over here lit up? Oh. And I mean, it was just one of those things where everything about it just, and I played it probably 4 different times, trying to give it another shot, give it another shot, give it another shot. And I just every single time came away with it just going, I do not like this. Don't like it. The other table, and I was just like jumped for joy when I saw it, was they had Highway Pinball's Alien.
Oh, right.
Now, talk about a rare one, because not many of these got made before they went kaput.
No, many at all.
And of course, the Aliens is my favorite movie, so I was like, here we go. This will be good. I've never touched a Highway Pinball machine, and they had right next to it Full Throttle, so I got to play both of them. They seem grip-wise like a wide body. But I don't think the layout is. I think it's just wider because they can do that whole swap the playfield in and out.
Yeah, I think they've got like extra sort of, for want of a better word, side rail action going on.
It felt like maybe an extra 2 inches, 2 or 3 inches to the table from what a standard machine was.
Yeah.
That table is made for the dark. You would hate it, Jared. We had this discussion when we were talking about doing strobe multi-ball with Attack from Mars. This table kills the lights a lot, and the thing is as it kills the lights, you'll get Hudson sitting there going, they turned off the lights, how'd they do that, man? Or doing that kind of thing. So I mean, the call outs are purposely there with the intention of you're not supposed to be able to see the ball,
right?
And it'll put you in that mode for maybe 2 or 3 seconds, just long enough for you to probably fumble and lose a ball. And then it'll kick on the lights, and maybe it'll be all red lights. The lighting on it is really cool. I mean, it plays with the atmosphere of what an Alien game should be. I mean, it really does a good job of that. My complaint is the table's called Alien. It's clearly all based on aliens, and really should have just been called Colonial Marines. Because it essentially amounts to you setting up sentry guns, trying to get to the APC, and aliens coming and swarming. That's it. So me coming from having played Zen's Aliens table, which in my book is fantastic for storytelling. I mean, they go through every beat of the movie. They really give you that sense of atmosphere and dread. I mean, they just captured the movie to a T. This thing just goes for the highlight reel of action, action, action. So there's no story at all. I didn't feel the progression. I just felt like I was just thrown into the middle of a firefight right off the bat.
Yeah, right.
It has some kind of weird dead ends, and there are some odd flipper placements. And the thing is that the flippers are dark and not lit. So on the upper side of the playfield.
Yeah.
So half the time I'd forget as my ball was going by that there was even a flipper there.
Oh, right. Okay. That's a problem.
That's a problem. But I did like so they do the full video board just like Jersey Jack does.
Yes.
But they also have that exact same set of information embedded into the playfield itself.
Yes.
So I liked that I didn't have to keep on looking up. I could just look at the center playfield where the action was and see exactly the information that was being given. The exact same information.
A heads-up display just for while you're playing, plus the back glasses there for the people who are watching.
Yeah.
Which is essentially what the back glasses are there for. They're designed to attract.
Right.
So that's really good.
So it was pretty cool. And I played Full Throttle a little bit and kind of messed around with that. They seemed like well-built tables and everything. They could. What's that?
It's a shame that they didn't go any further.
Yeah. I just think that they could have, like I said, all props go to Zen, because I think they just now having played both of them, I can say they're the hands down winner in terms of who captured the movie the best. And I'm sure that if Zen was putting together a real table, they could do a light show just like
that. Yeah,
just like it.
I mean, put it this way: if they wanted to emulate that Aliens table, they could, and they could probably do what they need to do on it to bring it up to what they wanted. Like, yeah, it would be easy.
Yeah, I also say Colonial Marines because you only ever hear the Marines talk. They didn't get Ripley's voice or likeness for the table,
which is a problem. Like,
right? And I don't. Again, I'm confused as to why it's called Alien when it was clearly Aliens, unless there's a software mode that you can pick between the films, but that wasn't available there.
Yes, you can actually select both films.
Okay.
At the beginning of the game, you can use your flippers to go, I'll have Aliens or Alien. That
wasn't an option.
That was the plan. Maybe they haven't implemented it.
And if they haven't now, they won't.
Correct. That's right. So yes, that was the plan there.
Okay, so maybe that's why there wasn't really, I mean, other than an alien queen or not even a queen, it was an alien whose jaw jutted out. Why we didn't see that. But
that would be the reason why. Yeah.
I did want to highlight, I played every single one of and this is going to kind of shift us over to the digital side of things.
Okay.
So I've been, obviously Zen has their Williams 7 tables that they have currently available to play.
Yep.
And I've been playing the mobile beta a lot, going through all those. So it made me go, okay, I need to go touch all of these machines just to see how well Zen has done.
Yes.
I can safely say they've done a knockdown, absolute bonkers great job.
Right.
I remember when I did the same thing with playing whatever was in TPA, that it was like, yeah, they did a pretty good. Yeah, it was one of those things where it was like I gave some latitude to Farsight for what they did, but they captured a lot of stuff. No, Zen has nailed it. They've really nailed it. There's like, for instance, Junkyard. I was concerned that the flipper angles that were coming off on that were somehow too artificial, that they weren't. There was something wrong to me. I play the real thing. I'll be damned if the same flipper angles didn't plague me.
Right. So it's the thing. It's proper physics.
It was a thing. Weird side note, I think somebody installed a really good sound system into Junkyard, the one that they had there, because I don't think Junkyard ever had a rumble motor, but man, that thing was rumbling like crazy.
Do you reckon it was like pin sound speakers or something in there?
That's what I reckon, because it was anytime there was any kind of a bass note, so it was constantly
for sure.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool. I was like, hey, that's pretty neat. Makes me go, maybe I should install a speaker into my my micro cab there.
Yeah, like a transducer or something like that in there.
Yeah. I played Black Rose. Okay, so at this museum, they have overhead lighting, but they basically block the lighting, so it only shoots out the side. So it's kind of a very ambient. But
so
it's very diffuse, and that's only down the center of the aisle. The lights that are directly over the pinball are virtually dark. So when you're looking at the table, the only illumination is coming from the pinball machine itself, for the most part. So I'm playing.
The lighting in the building is more like general illumination only.
Exactly. It's so you can walk around and not bump into people, but it's dark. Yes. Black Rose, not only does it have black flippers, they had black rubber on it.
Oh, jeez.
It was so hard to see the flippers. And when the ball was coming down, it was just like, wow, that's brutal. I
Where are you shooting? Where is it?
If they had have done the original intent with Black Rose using the black pinballs, game over. That would have been nuts.
Game over.
The other thing was hitting the broadside was so difficult because the cannon, it's a little piece of plastic that's on a disc that basically moves, was slightly off level. So whenever you'd hit the flipper, it would make the ball do a hop.
Oh no, it had the lip.
It had a lip. And that, oh my gosh, talk about just ruining a game.
Yeah.
So on that, I was like, hey, I prefer playing this in Zen then, because
It actually works.
It actually, you don't have to worry about that particular thing. But
it's so easy to fix too, eh? Like it's just got a little screw adjuster underneath that allows you to level that whole thing off.
Yeah, I don't know, but if you get any part of that plastic warped ever so slightly, it's a big piece of plastic.
Yeah, big piece of plastic. Yeah.
So
hammering because it's right in the middle of the playfield there.
And I found Medieval Madness to actually be the one that they had on site there to be easier than what Zen has modeled. So there you go. Right. But it was fun playing all those. I did play Attack from Mars, and I did get Strobe Multi-Ball, and it was glorious in all of its darkness.
All its darkness and epilepsy-inducing joy.
Yes. I did find, and this was kind of curious, there's a bunch of tables that look hideous in the dark.
Yeah.
When they need full light because and they're typically Stern tables. And it's not the newest of the Sterns. It's that, well, like for instance, Avengers and
that awkward era where they were basically running out of money.
Yeah.
24 and all those CSI and those.
Yeah. Speaking of, I played CSI, never played it. I don't know why. That was a fun game to play. I played a bunch of that.
It is. Yeah,
I was having a good time. I think it was, again, the rules were simple enough. The shots were interesting enough. I don't care for the theming, but I was having a good time on that. And then my two crowning moments. So the first one, I was coming to the end of the day. I spent 10 hours playing pinball, guys. My forearms were throbbing. So I went back over to the Stern aisle, and I was like, all right, what the heck? I'll play Ghostbusters. I started up my game of Ghostbusters just as two guys next to me had also just started up theirs, and they were doing, 2-player. And so I kind of made it a competition that they didn't know they were in. And I started just walloping on the table. Just doing a bang-up job, hitting super jackpots, everything. And in the end, they were all happy with their 30-some million score, and I'd scored 150 plus million or whatever, enough that I was able to enter in my name as they were getting ready to walk away from there. It's all like, hey, I win. And I didn't get to enter my name in a lot of tables. I think I only had 4 tables that I got to enter my name in. And most of those were for high score of the day.
Yeah, daily high scores. Yeah.
Daily high score. So then I was debating, how much more I was going to play or whatever. And I was like, well, before you walk away, let's go play. And I did this a couple of times. Let's go play some more roller games. So I went and I played roller games, and I had the match that was just perfect, hitting everything, doing just a bang up everything that I wanted. I was able to hit. Walked away from that with grand champion of the on the machine of only 12 million, a little bit over 12 million, but it wasn't no daily high score. That was grand champion. I was
2 replays. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, at that I just went, that's the show, folks. I'm walking away. I got to leave on a high note.
Absolutely. That is a good way to end a show. 10 hours worth of pinball. You just imagine, if you go to the Death by Pinball at Netherworld, which runs for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Just imagine your body after that. It would be broken so badly.
Yeah. So I think I wound up playing 78 different machines.
You counted them?
Every single time I played a machine, I entered it in. That being said, I got home, I started thinking about it. There was about 10 machines that I hadn't counted. So there might be a few more that I'm still unsure of that I played, but at minimum I played 78 different machines. Many of them I played multiple times.
Wow.
Some of it was one game was enough.
Machines. Yeah.
So, and even that being said, I think I only played 2 EMs.
Only 2. Oh,
okay. I mean, there's so much I was walking away from. You just see it and you're like, oh, but no. Yeah, no, I got to go play this instead. I mean,
you just leave a ball hanging, basically.
No, I didn't want to do that. I did that the very first time I went there. I would leave balls hanging all the time. And I was like, no, just play. Because I was trying to see how many I could hit. And this time I was just like, no, you're there for enjoyment. And, play it like you want to win it. And see what you can do.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, it was, and I tried to touch a couple of things that I've never touched before. Like I played Popeye. It's horrible. For For some unknown reason, I played once again Bugs Bunny's Birthday Bash. I think I was waiting for the table next to me to open up, and so I was like, "Oh, well, I'm standing here." Oh god, that's such a hideous table. I played Stern's version of Indiana Jones. Why?
I don't know. Never played it. I'm not really desiring to.
Yeah,
So we've got 5 minutes left.
We do got 5 minutes left
before I have to go and
you have to skedaddle
and do work because it's Monday. So what's left? What's the remainders?
What is remainder? What I was going to talk about is, and we don't need to go really hardcore into this because I can just kind of skirt over it. But with a Zen, I want to talk a little bit about their mobile pinball. So, like I said, I've been testing out their Williams pinball. And they made an announcement regarding pre-ordering or pre-reserving. I don't know what it is for Google Arcade.
Yes, they did. They've basically you can register to pre-order the game. Not really pre-order it because it's free to download, but you'll get notified when it's released. So you can go and do that now on Google Play. It's right. I thought, okay, this is going to be one of those classic. It's going to be you're able to whitelist or pre-list it in America and not Australia, but no, you can do it in Australia as well. So there you go. It's worldwide.
So because I was playing that, and I downloaded the Aliens pack, which is free to play, but I never got around to really playing it because that was back when I had my old phone, which was too small to play pinball on. And I hadn't really. Somebody mentioned that they have Bethesda pinball. And I was like, oh, really? So I downloaded that because that's also free to play. And I realized that basically Williams Pinball, in terms of how you play it for free, is an amalgamation of both of those.
Oh, okay.
So with Aliens, it's you get one table that you get to start with, and you got to open up, you got to meet certain goals, open up 3 eggs, that opens up then the next table. You always have to watch an ad before being able to play a game, but you get to play the full game.
That's good.
And the ads are honestly, as soon as it starts, you just close the app and you open the app back up, and you've now skipped the commercial and you can go straight into playing. So it's
classic. Yeah,
you can skip the ads really easily. And then once you've earned all 3, tables, they're open up and you don't have to hit those little goals or whatever, but it's for free. You can just do whatever. And you still can purchase the tables outright if you don't want to deal with the ads. Okay. But anyway, that was that. Bethesda, you start with 1 table and you have to play basically challenge mode, which is, or matchup mode, which I don't like because you're only a limited amount of time and it takes forever to advance at all, and you're only allowed 3 matchups per day, and you have to play, I think, 30 matchups in order to unlock the next table. So it's kind of a slog to get through.
It's a bit not nice
to get there. And if you want to play single player by yourself a full game, then you got to use your coins that you've earned to do that. So it feels a little more paywall-y. But again, you can outright purchase these. It's not like you have to do this. I'm doing this from the perspective of, hey, I want to play these games for free and not pay for it. Also, Bethesda, floaty, weird.
Oh, really? It's different to what it is in Zen, like in FX3.
Completely different. Like the Aliens table plays like how the Bally tables or the Bally Williams tables are playing. Bethesda, it feels like it's how TPA plays. Very odd. Weird. So the Williams collection, you have what are called daily challenges. And the daily challenges are more, so it's not the matchup mode, it's the 1 ball, 5 minute, and survival challenge.
Yeah, which are fun.
And you get 3 tables to choose between. 1 table doesn't cost you anything to be able to play. Another table is watch a video in order to play. And the 3rd table is they have these Z coins, which anybody that's played Skills knows what those are. You play with those. And when you play a game, and if you meet your goal, they're broken down into 5. First, you got to do 5 goals, then you got to do 10 goals, then you got to do 15 goals, which is the max. But each time you do one of those accomplishments, then you open up a box of like 5 tickets. You select a ticket, it flips over, and you'll either get a table part for a specific machine, or you'll get flipper or custom flippers, custom balls, custom ball trails.
Yeah, right.
You collect those. When you start, you get to select 1 table that becomes free to play table. You want to unlock the other 6, you got to collect these table parts. You only have to collect enough to earn 2 stars worth to open up the tables. But if you want to use all the other advancements, like the enhanced graphics and everything else like that, you got to max out the table with a 4-star. That takes a long time because you only earn it by doing these daily challenges.
Right.
But that's why I say it's an amalgamation between Bethesda and Aliens Pinball, because the paywall doesn't seem so there.
Yeah.
But you're still having to slowly unlock these things.
It's more like achievement wall rather than paywall.
Yeah, kind of like that. So I think they've done a rather good job of that, and I'm not a fan of matchup mode anyway, so I'm glad that they went to the challenge mode instead. And then obviously you can push a button and boom, kicks you over into skills, and then you can play multi-ball, or not multi-ball, multiplayer that way.
You know what I think? I think what Zen's been doing with these like standalone releases is paving the way for FX3. We know that it's been in development for a while, so they've been experimenting with these standalone versions, different ways of monetizing them.
Yeah,
and not telling anyone that that's what they're doing, but that's kind of exactly what they were doing. They're running little experiments on their tables.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty interesting though how it's coming around, and like I said, I think that they're kind of reaching their apex of what they want to do with mobile with this. So I'm excited for when everybody else gets to get their hands on it.
Yeah, bring it on. I've got a nice Pixel XL 3 that's waiting for the build whenever it comes out. So I'm happy.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna let Jared go to work.
Yeah, time to go to work. Time to feed a child, go to work, and and then I'll edit this thing sometime. Hey, folks, why don't you support the show? Why don't you go ahead, get yourself over to redbubble.com, do a search for BlahCade, and you can buy a t-shirt. I did have one individual spot me at there and go, blue t-shirt, BlahCade, hey, you're the BlahCade guy. Hey, it worked.
It worked. So I talked to him for a little bit, and so that was cool.
That was lucky because I only just released the podcast a day before you were there.
he literally listened to it on his way to the show.
Aha.
And so that's how we do. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
So show your support, get a t-shirt. They're not expensive. We made sure of that. Why don't you head on over to BlahCadePinball.com/episodes, and there you can read all about all the goodness. Jared likes to throw in all sorts of links and such pictures. No doubt he'll have a field day again. Maybe. Depends on how much time he has. But, And beyond that, search us out on the Twitters, BlahCade, and we will talk to you again next week. Bye-bye.
See you later.